What happens after death? Who are we beyond this physical body? The second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita gives us the knowledge of the eternal soul, the importance of destiny, and the power of wisdom in overcoming fear. Let us explore the timeless truth that will change our perspective on life and death. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 2, Sankhya Yoga. Sanjaya said, while the merciful Arjuna was shedding tears, Lord Krishna said this, Arjuna, why has this evil mind arisen in you at this critical time, which is contrary to the noble Dharma, brings disgrace, and is a cause of hell? Do not be discouraged like an impotent man. This is of no use to you. Weakness of mind is base. Abandon it. You are a slayer of the enemy, are you not? Begin the war. Arjuna said, O Krishna, how can I strike the worshipable Bhishma and Drona with arrows? It is not good to kill great teachers. It is better to beg than to kill them and enjoy the bloody pleasures of a kingdom. It is not known whether it is good to fight or not. We cannot say whether we will win or they will win. Those who kill us will make us hate life, and that is the king of Dhartarashtra. My intellect has been destroyed by the fault of attachment to teachers and relatives. I do not know what is good or bad. Please instruct me, who have taken refuge in you as a disciple, on the right path. Even if I obtain the kingdom of the world or the kingdom of heaven, I do not think that my grief will diminish. Sanjaya said, Arjuna said that to Lord Krishna and said that he would not fight. Seeing Arjuna, who was in a state of grief between the two armies, Lord Krishna mockingly said, Arjuna, you are grieving for those who do not need to be grieved. Moreover, you speak like a great sage. The sages do not grieve for the dead, nor for the living. You and I, all of them, have existed in the past. We will also exist in the future. Just as a living being experiences childhood, youth, and old age in this body, so too will another body come after death. The brave man does not grieve for this, son of Kunti. Due to the senses that are subject to things, the qualities of heat and cold, happiness and sorrow, are experienced. The combination of desires and senses is impermanent. Therefore, O Bharata, bear with those sorrows. O man, he who is not displeased by heat, cold, and pleasure and pain, such a brave man is worthy of liberation. That which is not is never there. That which is never gone. The decision of these two is known only to the wise. The soul that pervades this universe is indestructible. No one can destroy it. For the soul that is indestructible, these bodies are not eternal. The soul alone is eternal. Therefore, O Bharata, start the war. Those who think that this soul kills or is killed are both ignorant. The soul neither kills nor dies. The soul has no birth or death. It cannot exist once and then cease to exist. The soul, which is unborn, eternal, and eternally ready, is eternal. Therefore, even if the body is destroyed, the soul within it does not die. Partha, how does one who knows that the soul is indestructible, that death is not born, and that it is eternal, kill anyone? How does one kill? Just as a man discards old, worn-out clothes and puts on new clothes, so the soul discards worn-out bodies and acquires new bodies. Weapons cannot cut this soul. Fire cannot burn it. Water cannot wet it. Wind cannot dry it. The soul is indestructible. It is omnipresent, motionless, and eternal. The soul is not visible to the senses. It is not accessible to the mind. It is not subject to defilements. Knowing this self, you should stop worrying. Arjuna, although you think that the soul is also subject to death and rebirth along with the body, you need not grieve over this. Death is inevitable for the one who is born. Birth is inevitable for the one who dies. there is no need to agonize over this inevitable matter. It is not known what form the living beings take before birth or after death. They are seen only in the interim. Arjuna, then why are you sad? One person looks at this soul in amazement. Another talks strangely about it. Another hears strangely. But there is no one who knows the nature and form of this soul. The soul that is in all bodies does not die. Therefore, you should not grieve for these living beings. Even though you know your dharma, do not be afraid. Because for a kshatriya, there is no greater fortune than fighting righteously. This battle, like an open gate of heaven, has come to you effortlessly. Only kshatriyas who have done merit can get such an opportunity. If you do not fight this dharma, you will ruin your caste, dharma, and fame, and incur sin. Moreover, people will forever speak of your infamy. Death is better than slander for a person of honor and prestige. All those who have respected you as a great hero for all these years think that you have stopped fighting out of fear and look down on you. Your enemies will say many unspeakable things, criticizing your valor. What greater pain is there? Arjuna, if you die in a righteous war, you will attain heaven. If you conquer your enemies, you will enjoy the pleasures of a kingdom. Therefore, prepare yourself for war with determination. Fight with equal consideration for pleasure and pain, profit and loss, and victory and defeat. Then you will not incur sin. Partha. So far, I have told you about the soul according to the Sankhya religion. Now I will tell you about the Nishkama Karma Yoga, which is the means to get rid of the bonds of samsara. Even if this Karma Yoga is started and not completed, it is not in vain. There is no fault. Even if it is practiced a little, this yoga protects you from the terrible fear of samsara. Arjuna. The mind that is determined is the same. The thoughts of those who are not determined run in various directions. Partha. The foolish, those who are interested in materialism, and those who argue that there is nothing beyond heavenly bliss, recite the Vedas. After such people experience heavenly bliss as a result of their Vedic actions, they do not get salvation except the fruit of their karma in the form of rebirth in the land of karma. The mind of those who are addicted to the Vedas for the sake of pleasures is not stable. Arjuna. The Vedas describe the actions of the three gunas. You should abandon the three gunas, be free from duality, and adopt the pure guna of sattva without seeking the benefits of yoga, and become self-aware. Just as those who draw water from a river give importance to a needle, similarly, those who know Brahman do not give importance to Vedic actions that are based on the desire for results. You have authority only to perform actions. You have no connection with the results of your actions. Therefore, do not perform actions with the desire for results. Do not try to stop actions just because of that. Whether the results are obtained or not, perform actions with equanimity. Arjuna. This equanimity is called yoga. Arjuna. Action performed with the desire for results is inferior to action performed without desire. And those who perform actions with the desire for results are inferior. Therefore, resort to equanimity. A man of equanimity abandons both good and bad deeds in this world. Therefore, practice the Nishkama Karma, which is the equanimity of intellect. Know that yoga is the performance of actions with skill. The Nishkama yogis escape from the bonds of birth without expecting the fruits of actions and attain salvation without suffering. When your intellect overcomes the impurity of ignorance, the things you have heard and the meanings you will hear will make you averse. When your mind, which has been agitated by listening to many arguments, is still, you will attain self-knowledge. Arjuna said, O Krishna, what are the characteristics of a person who has attained the state of samadhi? What are his speech and conduct like? Lord Krishna said, he who has abandoned all desires in his mind and always experiences the joy of the self is a man of equanimity. A sage who is not overwhelmed by sorrows, not overwhelmed by pleasures, and who has abandoned fear and passion becomes a man of equanimity. A man who acts without attachment to friends and lovers and does not feel happy or angry when good things happen becomes a man of equanimity. Just as a tortoise retracts its limbs, so too does he who has withdrawn his senses from all kinds of material pleasures become a man of equanimity. For one who does not take food, the objects of the senses are subdued, but the smell of matter does not leave. With the sight of the self, that too is quenched. O Arjuna, even the mind of a scholar who tries excessively for self-control is forcibly dragged by the senses. The yogi should control all the senses and keep his mind on me. Such a person's wisdom becomes stable. He who always thinks about verbal things increases his interest in them. Interest gives rise to desires. Desires give rise to anger. Anger gives rise to ignorance. Ignorance gives rise to forgetfulness. And the destruction of the intellect leads to the destruction of the intellect. He who, having restrained his mind and enjoying the pleasures of the senses, without attachment or hatred, attains peace of mind. If the mind is pure, all sorrows disappear. The wisdom of a person whose mind is pure is not agitated. A person who does not restrain his mind does not have self-knowledge or self-reflection. Such a person does not have peace of mind. Happiness is empty for a person without peace of mind. Just as a whirlwind makes a ship without a rudder lose its direction, so a mind that is subject to the senses, acting according to its desires, corrupts the intellect of a man. Arjuna. Therefore, one who has restrained the senses from going towards material pleasures becomes steadfast in mind. He is the one who is steady in mind. When it is night for all beings who are devoid of self-realization, the sage who has restrained the mind is awake. When all beings are awake with interest in things, it is night for the yogi who is self-realized. Just as the waters of a river enter the ocean, which is constantly full but remains motionless, in the same way, one who has all desires absorbed and subdued attains peace. There is no salvation for one who is enslaved to material pleasures. One who has abandoned all desires and is free from hope, pride, and attachment attains supreme peace. Arjuna. Thus, the attention of one who has attained Brahman knowledge does not turn to worldly matters again. If such knowledge is attained even at the last stage of life, one attains salvation. Thus ends the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, which is the Upanishads, Brahma Vidya, Yoga Shastra, and the conversation between Sri Krishna and Arjuna, titled Sankhya Yoga.